Hi, and welcome to Hull and Hull TV. I'm your host, Danna O'Brien, and I'm joined by Ian Hull and Suzana Popovic-Montag, partners at Hull and Hull LLP, an innovative law firm with offices in Toronto and Oakville that practice exclusively in estates, trusts, and capacity litigation. We're delighted to bring you Hull and Hull TV, exploring the issues around estate planning that affect you. Let's start by talking about a pretty touchy subject, disinheritance. Ian, I imagine it's a little like throwing a stick of dynamite into the family mix. What's your experience? Are we seeing more kids being cut out of the family will?
I think in terms of numbers, probably yes. And in large part, I think it comes from, first of all, the enormous wealth that is being transferred down to the generations from into the baby boom generation and below, and the enormous wealth that people have been able to accumulate since World War II in terms of their own entrepreneurial successes or in terms of good investments and the like.
Disinheritance is the extreme, but Suzana, what happens when the head of a family decides to share his or her assets, but not do it equally? Is there such a thing as unequal but fair?
I think it really is going to depend upon the estate plan that an individual is facing and whether or not they have those kinds of assets that might require that kind of a distribution between family members. I think the easiest illustration would be where you've got a family company and you've got two children, for instance, where one of the children is very, very active in that company and the other one isn't. And so as part of an estate plan, there may be a consideration being given to the one of the children, the one who's involved in the company, perhaps getting those shares at the end of the day, or the company itself, and then the other child getting an equivalent of some other sort from other assets that are owned by the father or the mother, as the case may be.
That brings us to the next question. Ian, how do you communicate that without causing a fight? How do you avoid a family fight?
Well, I think you have to sort of sit down and take a deep breath and get over the hurdle of discussing your estate plan generally. Many people simply don't want to talk about their wills, let alone their estate plan with their family. So once you've come to terms with that, I also like to approach it more in a business environment. Create an environment or an atmosphere where a meeting with the family or a discussion with the family is in a business environment. It's not at the dining room table, so to speak. It is arranged in a way that it takes some of the emotion off the table, but at the same time, it's personal. It's what we call the eyeball effect. It gives you a chance to look your child or your kids in the eyes and say, this is what I want, as opposed to what you think I want.
Wills and inheritance can be a pretty sensitive subject. So, Suzana, who should broach the subject and how do they do it diplomatically?
Well, I think normally we see that it's the heads of the family that are going to broach the topic and the discussion, and they're going to initiate the discussion with their children. And as Ian was saying, the whole goal really being to sort of professionalize the conversation, having the opportunity to explain to your children what it is that you want to do with your estate, why it is that you want to do that, and then possibly answer any questions that they have arising from that plan will help people understand and digest it at the end of the day and makes it, hopefully, a lot less likely that they're going to challenge it.
Ian, how easily do people talk about a will? Is it an easy conversation?
It really isn't an easy conversation, and nor should it be. It's not a happy topic necessarily to talk about your impending doom, and more importantly, it's a private matter. But with that brings the need, I think anyway, to bring transparency to your world. We live in a world where we expect our professionals, we expect the people around us, our educators, to be more transparent, yet we don't think of it in our own terms to look at ourselves and consider how we can be more transparent. And I often will tell my clients that the option of keeping it secret leaves open the possibility of a dispute down the road. Let's manage that risk. And the way you manage that risk is you professionally discuss and you meaningfully discuss with transparency and detail just what your estate plan is going to be all about.
So the best way of avoiding any family fights, surprises, estate litigation is to talk about it. Ian and Suzana, thank you. And thanks for joining us on Hull and Hull TV.